Good evening. This is the Thursday edition live question and answer session. And also, we're going to talk tonight about some of the problems in the Utah market. Excuse me there. So, welcome to bring your questions. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I did. I love this time of year. I love Thanksgiving and Christmas, some of my best holidays that I love. Here in Utah, we don't have any snow on the ground. We got it in the mountains. Matter of fact, last weekend, a lot of the ski resorts open, pretty much most of them. And I have some friends that went up and said it was a total success. So, and I didn't realize how hard it is this year to find season passes. I had some people that wanted me to find them some season passes, and I had a tough time because most places were sold out. So, I owe some people a lot of favors. I hate to imagine what I got to do to repay that. So if you have any kind of questions, real estate, Utah, investing, whatever you want to talk about, I'm open to talk about it. It's only probably two subjects I usually don't talk about, and that's usually religion and politics, because you can't win those conversations. So we just learned that over the last election. So, they are tough subjects, but in general, though, if you had questions about that, I would definitely answer some of them. But we won't go deep into some of that stuff on who to vote for and not to vote for, etc. I'm going to get started with some of the problems that we're seeing in the real estate market. And I did a video on this last week, and I got a lot of questions. When do you see the market loosening? Patrick, great question. You know, not many people can predict the future on what's going to happen. And I'm talking nationally here, because every state right now is just every state that I talk to, probably 100 agents around the country in Zoom calls. And we discuss about people's markets. And it seems like everybody I talk to has got the same issue. And it's boiling down to low interest rates, and there's a lot of moving going on. People we see it from areas like Seattle and California. A lot of people that can work from home now are choosing where they want to live, and they're moving to places like Utah, Idaho, Montana, whatever their dream has been, maybe, and they're leaving some of the big cities. So will that reverse around? I don't know. So there's high demand on homes, low interest rates, probably historically low interest rates. I don't know of anyone who's ever seen it this low. So a lot of people are trying to get in because they know that, you buy that home at 2-3%, you've got it as long as you got the home, 30 years, 15 years, however long you're going to own it. And that stays. So a lot of refinancing going on. So with that being said, there's a couple things that possibly that I've got my eye on, and I don't know how this is going to turn out, and maybe some people could enlighten me a little bit. But one, if the interest rates go up, I think that's going to dramatically change the market. People's payments will change. So if we go, from 2 to 3% to 4, 5, 6%, that will change the market, I believe. There's two things coming in January, possibly, that could affect the market. And it's hard to get exact data on it, but one is the mortgage forbearance. And the mortgage forbearance program ends January. As of right now, there is talks going on right now about new stimulus packages and more help for the virus. And they may extend the mortgage forbearance. That's politics, and I can't predict that either. So when the mortgage forbearance ends, how many of those people cannot make their payments, and how many people applied for mortgage forbearance just so that they wouldn't have a payment for X amount of months? That's the unknown questions. And I don't know if there's a lot of data out there to give us an exact number. They can tell you how many people are in mortgage forbearance, but how many of them are going to be able to make their payments? So that's a big question. Number two is on the rental market. So if you are affected by COVID in any way, job loss, you got COVID, you're taking care of someone for COVID, you can actually apply and not pay your rent anymore. So there's a lot of people out there that have not paid their rent. That ends in January also at the current time. This could all be extended. In a month's time, I might be telling you a different story. But so there are some landlords out there not getting paid flat out. So when January comes and they start evicting people, will some of them landlords get out of the industry and the inventory blossom up? Because the last number I heard, there was about, I think it was about 3 million people not paying rent in the United States. So landlords will be evicting when they can. They need their money. So how that affects the market, we do not know yet. So, but landlords in general, big corporations are a little different than some of your individual landlords. Sometimes individual landlords will get tired, and they get tired of the rental industry as per se. So they might be real quick, in my opinion. I think they're going to be real quick to say, it's worth good money. I'm just going to sell it, put my money somewhere else, stock market, cryptocurrency, whatever they want to do. So I think some of them people will possibly get out of the rental business. So Patrick, just moved to Ogden, Brigham, inventory is tight. You're absolutely right there, Patrick. If you're renting or buying, it's tight either way. If you're buying, you've got to be on a list. Like I've got a list that shoots you every day, everything brand new that hits the market. You've got to be in the door real quick. You've got to have pre-approval. There's some other techniques I do use too. I do have a lot of agents that watch some of my videos, so I don't like to give away all my tips and tricks on getting in that. So I have to compete against them myself. So it's a battle. It's a battle for agents. So, but yeah, inventory is tight. I'm putting people in homes all the time. So I think the biggest thing is you have to be prepared for rejection. There's multiple offers, and for a reason or not, your offer is not going to get accepted maybe in some situations. So if you can prepare yourself for that, then it's a little better, and people get into homes a little bit better because don't have their mind set on that one particular home and then feel like they can't find anything else. So it's kind of be open-minded and understand that when you're dealing 10 or 12 possible offers, it's tough for a seller to decide. But I will tell you one thing. I'm on both sides of it. So I get multiple offers come to me all the time. And the number one thing you hear in a market like this is they're sitting there with all these pieces of paper. The piece of paper don't mean much to the sellers. They got numbers on it, whatever. Their then next concern is they want to sell the home to somebody who will take care of the home and also get along with their neighbors in a lot of instances. Now, in reality, it's no longer their home. So really you could say it's none of their business, but they can be a little more picky now. So they always ask me as a listing agent, say, Mike, tell me something about these people. Who do we have? So if you don't have much information except a piece of paper, you can just say, hey, it's Billy Bob, and his offer was $245,000. That's about it. So you've got to get your offer to stand out. It's almost like applying for a job. You've got to get your resume to the top of the stack. And it's as simple as that. Whether you do it on pink paper, yellow paper, whatever your tips and tricks are, that will help you in the long run. I've got a couple tips to do that and tricks. And that's how it is. It's but I can tell you that the people who are getting into homes right now are really happy. They're happy with the mortgage rates, et cetera, and it's for a lifetime. So, and it's you're seeing a lot of refinancing, and that's the other reason we have some low inventory. We've got a lot of people who have called me about possibly selling over the last few months, and they've now changed their mind. Their attitude now is they're going to refinance maybe to a 10 or a 15 year, maybe try to pay it off. before, say, retirement, and maybe live in a home, or maybe then upgrade their home. I'm seeing a lot of that now, and that means less inventory, a lot of less inventory. So I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot of refinancing, and people just kind of staying put and feel that, if you can go to a shorter mortgage and have a lower payment, but a lot of people want to pay that same payment. I mean, they're sitting down and figuring, well, I could have this paid off in X amount of years, and I'm so old. I'm not so old, but I'm X amount of age, and they're looking at where they're going in life, and a lot of people have told me when I've called them back, and they're like, Mike, I'm just going to hold off. We're just going to pay this off and see what the market is in another 5 or 7 years and go from there. So it's a great opportunity for them, and I don't blame them at all. To own a home free and clear, I mean, what a feeling that must be like. To me, it's one of the American dreams. If you could go into retirement owning your home with no payments, I mean, that would be great. So great question. No, so Patrick, out of curiosity, where did you move? What was the state you were last at? Thank you for taking my question. Patrick, anytime you got questions or whatever, you're welcome to hit me on the phone, text. If you want me to help you find something, I'd be glad to help you too. Oh, you came from California. Okay. I get a lot of people from California. I've done a lot of videos on California, on people moving here. And I always joke that Governor Newsom probably is going to put me on the ban list, not allow me out there anymore. But we vacation in California. We love California. We're horse racing fans. And we were out there last November for the Breeders' Cup. So we love California. And I would love to have a retirement home in California. I don't think it will ever happen. What California real estate is, I just couldn't. I couldn't do it as a vacation home, that's for sure. But near Del Mar. Yes, I've been to Del Mar. I'm not too sure if you were next to Del Mar, but yeah, last year the Breeders' Cup was held at Santa Anita. It was held at Del Mar the year before. It's due to be held at Del Mar next November. It swaps around the country a little bit. It predominantly over like the last 10 years, it's stayed in Southern California. 2 years ago when it was at Del Mar was the first time ever. And we went to the Del Mar race. Absolutely beautiful. Del Mar I'll have memories of that for the rest of my life. It was unbelievable to go to the racetrack, and we were there a couple hours early, and we walked underneath the highway right onto the beach, and we spent some time on the beach and then went to the horse track, and the whole time you can see the whole coastline and the beach. Absolutely beautiful. Amazing. So whenever they want to tear that track down and build me a home there, I'd be okay. But yeah, great area. Beautiful area. Santa Anita is a beautiful area too. I could live out there in Arcadia. I love Santa Anita too. So, and we've been elsewhere. So my wife's family actually race horses. So we've been to Los Alamitos also. So Eddie, are the Jets loud in Salt Lake City as they are in Layton? No. So I assume you must live in Layton. So the Salt Lake Jets, it would be your commercial airlines. And the way they take off to the north and to the south in Salt Lake, north of the airport and pretty much south of the airport, there's not a lot of residential homes. It's mostly commercial in those areas. And once they take off, they do veer over the lake typically and then start their routes. Now, in Layton, Hill Air Force Base, their typical flight pattern is they take off to the south. They take off to the south, and then they bank towards the West Desert. There's a bombing range out there. They do a lot of exercises out there in the desert out there. It's electronic battlefields, so very, very sophisticated. So the noise in Layton has increased. So when we had the F-16s, the F-35 now that we have is noisier than the F-16 was. And I noticed that pretty much the areas that if you do not want jet noise and you want to be in the Layton area, just south of the runway, I would not be in that particular area then, because that's where they take off and they start climbing altitude and then they turn. So once they turn and they go over Layton or Clearfield or Clinton, they've gained altitude and you do not hear them that much. If you're outside, you do hear them go by, but in your house, you do not hear them. But if you are south of the runway there, off of, say, Fort Lane, some of those areas, yeah, you're going to hear that jet noise as they take off. You will. So, but I personally love the jet noise. So I golf at courses around Weber and Davis County, and when the jets come in and stuff like that, I love the jet noise. To me, it's the sound of freedom, and I'm always looking up as they're coming in. So I find it fascinating. So it definitely doesn't bother me, but I don't know if I'd want to live directly underneath a flight path for some other reasons. So, wow, thank you. You're welcome anytime, Eddie. Best mountain towns in Utah, Dylan. Great question. Great question. So probably the best mountain town in Utah has to be Park City. It's also the most expensive. So if you are looking at purchasing, it's expensive there. It is expensive up there. As a matter of fact, I was just up there 2 weeks ago at a condo, and the condo was $3.3 million. And I wasn't selling or listing as a buyer. I was actually going up there and consulting on some construction work that they had done. But the individual who was buying it was very, very wealthy. And I wish I could tell you who it was. But yeah, for a condo, $3.3 million, new construction. So Park City is it's probably the best mountain town because you've got downtown Park City. If you can afford Park City, by all means, I would love to live in Park City or Deer Valley. Some of the gated communities like Promontory, absolutely amazing. But like a gated community like Promontory, if I remember right, like the HOA fee alone is like $100,000 a year. So it's rich of the rich in some of those areas. Okay, with that aside, my best mountain town that I like that is affordable, and we're not talking $4 or $5 million homes, would be the Eden, Huntsville, and Liberty area. I did a video on it. To me, it's very similar to Park City. It's about the same altitude. It's the same. It's got the same feel. The difference is you do not have the glitz and glamour of Park City. Eden, Huntsville, they do not have this huge main street, have parties down Main Street, Sundance Film. There's none of that. It's country living. So, matter of fact, there's just one grocery store up there, but it is up there is absolutely beautiful. I would love to live up there myself. A little bit of a challenge for me to live up there personally right now with what I do, since I travel throughout the different counties here. But without a doubt, that is very, very beautiful up there. Very beautiful. And you have some of the best ski resorts up there. And it's home to Snow Basin Ski Resort, which was held one of the events for a few events for the Winter Olympics. I was trying to get all that out. But I went there for the men's downhill racing with some friends of mine, and absolutely amazing. It was great to see. So great ski resorts, mountain biking, everything. There's some. If you got a UTV, you can go up to. I'm having a memory blank right here. But there's a ride up there, Monte Cristo. You can go to Monte Cristo where they got a snowmobile or a UTV, and you can go all the way over to Brigham City. So it is a fantastic drive. So lots to do up there. They've got a lake up there. You can put a boat, jet ski, whatever you want. That would be my choice for an affordable mountain town. But I would love Park City or Deer Valley. I could live there too, but it's not in my budget. If it's in your budget, by all means, live in Park City. Great question, though, Dylan. Keep the questions coming. Just shoot it at me if you want to. But we were talking about, the inventory being low, and it's a challenge out there. We currently have, if we're just talking single family homes, and I'm talking from Logan, Utah, all the way down to Provo, Utah, the major counties in northern Utah, we're about 2,500 single family homes on the market right now, if I was to look. When you add condos and townhomes, you bump up to just over 3,000 probably. Not a lot of inventory. So, and that includes your cheapest price home to your multi-million-dollar homes. So it's a little competitive, but one tip I would have this time of year, though, is probably out of any time of the year, some of the better times to look for a home, even in low inventory. A lot of people are busy with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then when the snow starts hitting the ground, a lot of people don't want to go out and look at a home. They just literally will cancel. I'll work with people and they're like, I'm really interested. And they're like, it's too cold tonight to go, Mike. I don't want to go meet you there. Or it's snowing. And I'm like, I'm willing to go. And they'll back out. So this time of year, to me, is a buyer's paradise. If you can take time away from the family and stuff to look at homes and to possibly be in like January, through the slush and snow and, whatever we have at the current time during that period. So great. But yeah, we don't have many homes on the market. So we're probably about 2,500. And it pretty much started when the virus hit. We went to really low inventory. We thought we had low inventory, but now we definitely got low inventory. Pretty much when the virus hit is where it started. A lot of people wanted to sell. It was springtime. Then when the virus came, we didn't know a lot about the virus. So a lot of people got nervous. Getting people in their homes are going to affect the whole home, et cetera, et cetera. How can I clean for the virus? There was a lot going on. So people were not listing their homes. They said, well, I'm going to wait till the summer. Well, summer came. The virus was still here. The virus had increased, actually. So they put it off and keep pushing it down the road a little bit. So maybe that'll change. Maybe that'll help with inventory a little bit. Maybe some people might reconsider once we start getting vaccinations going and see the numbers hopefully go down. So, but it started there and it just hasn't. And then with, I don't think anybody anticipated that through this time that the mortgage rates would go this low. I don't think anyone predicted that. So, and that kind of just added a little bit more fuel to the fire. People want in on these low rates, may not see it again in their lifetime. So, buyers are frustrated and I get it. So, but it's not all doom and gloom. People are making deals every single day. So it's got to be aggressive. So it's happening every day. There are closings every day. As a matter of fact, my title lady, she last week forgot to do a couple things for me, and she called me at 10:30 at night. She was still working, just to say, I'm going to get on it tonight, Mike. I'm just a little behind because there are so many deals between refinancing and purchases. They are just slammed. So it's affecting everybody. But and new construction too is not the answer to solve it. We're having some problems in new construction also. Mostly price increases. The last 6 months have been horrible for new construction pricing. Some of the lumber mills were closed because of COVID. Price has just doubled and tripled in some cases. Between that and some of the natural disasters we had around the country, there's been a huge demand for lumber. Other states are also in a building frenzy, so they demand a lot of lumber. Price of lumber's gone. Everything that goes in the home, prices have gone up. A lot of it comes from China. There again, China was shut down for quite a while. When you're talking doorknobs and all the other electrical wire and stuff, a lot of that's coming from overseas these days. And short supply, prices go up. So home new construction prices, and it has been a little sour for some people that are building new construction. It's hard to get an exact price, and it's really hard to get an exact start time and completion time. And I can personally, just 2 hours before, 2 hours ago, I'm working on a new construction project for somebody. We started this when the virus hit, and they expected, we couldn't find an ideal lot for them. They found, I managed to find a place that has some lots that were coming up. They were supposed to be ready in July. We are now at Thanksgiving. The lots are still not ready. Some of that happened because electrical problem. A couple months ago, we had a real bad storm come through. All the high power electrical workers are boom. So all the other projects got put on the bottom line because they were fixing power poles and power outages. I think there's about 180,000 homes that were out without power. So huge job. So it's been put back. And we were promised by Thanksgiving that they would get electrical in the subdivision so the city could approve it. But we're still fighting that, or the developer is still fighting that. And now I'm probably looking at, I mean, we were anticipating starting construction digging in like July for these people. Now we might be January. So it has definitely dragged on. And so, all right, Dylan, another question. Best border cities in Utah. Wow. Well, we don't have a lot of them. Your largest would be St. George in southern Utah. Great area. It has, over the years, has predominantly been a retirement community. There's many people from northern Utah that have purchased homes in southern Utah, and they'll live there in their retirement years during the winter months so they don't have the snow. And then during the summer months, they come to northern Utah. It has changed from that a little bit. We're now seeing more industries down there and jobs, and people are moving there for work instead of, as well as also retirement. Still a big retirement area. It's a very booming city. It's a nice city. St. George is very, very nice. That is probably the most known. We have Wendover, Utah, which is shared with Nevada. The thing with Wendover, Utah is majority of it is on the Nevada side. There are casinos out there, liquor stores, marijuana store. So most of the growth is on the Nevada side as opposed to the Utah side. That's the major ones. You could potentially, I mean, stretching it a little bit. It's not a border town, but you could say Morgan, Utah, very beautiful area. You're still technically from the border. You're probably 30, 40 miles away from the border. But I would kind of consider a little bit of a border town. So it borders Wyoming. So that's the most popular. There's some in the eastern part of the state. Some of those towns there have been hit hard lately with the oil industry. There was a lot of oil production in some of those areas on the eastern part of Utah that have struggled with the oil. The cheaper gas prices, the lower price of a barrel of oil has made oil fracking not as profitable as it was, and some layoffs. And same with North Dakota is another big area. There's a lot of people travel from here to North Dakota for work in the oil industry. So that's been hit quite a bit in eastern Utah. And I don't know if it's going to come back. It's all on the edge, with President Biden that we're going to have. He originally said that he was not for oil fracking, and he changed his mind a little bit towards the end of the election. So I don't know what's going to happen in that industry. I would not personally want to be in that industry. It seems kind of not knowing every 4 years, you do have a new administration coming in. It doesn't like oil fracking. So yeah, that's great. Great question, Dylan. I forgot one more though. When you're talking border cities, get the brain going here. Logan, Utah. Logan, Utah is up on the border, real close to the border of Idaho. Fantastic town. I love Logan, Utah. Love Logan, Utah. I was just up there yesterday. It is it's an amazing town. The whole Cache Valley up there is, and it's got everything that you would need in a town, you know, for amenities, where there's a Target, Walmart, doctor's offices, whatever. But Logan, Utah is very, very beautiful. I'll probably live in central Utah to get the best of both climates. Yes. Yes and no, Dylan. And if you're talking central Utah, are you referring to maybe areas like Cedar City come to mind? Look at the weather though. Place like Cedar City, some of those areas, Cedar City, and is the elevation. So during the winter months, it still gets chilly down there, and they still do see some snow. It's pretty much once you get into St. George, it gets nicer as far as winter weather goes. But some of them have the elevation that like Salt Lake has. So the temperature difference from, say, Cedar City to Salt Lake City during the winter months is probably 5 to 7 degrees. And, you know, snowfall, of course, would be less. If you get 2 or 3 inches in Salt Lake, you're probably getting a dusting in like areas like Cedar City. So you would be a little bit shocked. So I've had a few people that have looked at Cedar City for like a retirement home, and then they've looked at the weather and what it is during the winter months, and they're like, wow, it's not much different than Salt Lake City. And it's not a little bit. So they end up going a little further south to a place like St. George or Mesquite or something, so they get a little bit more warmth through the winter months. So anyways, great question. So, but it's nice. Central Utah is nice. It doesn't attract as many people. It comes back to jobs. The job growth has been in northern Utah from throughout the whole area, northern Utah, including areas like Logan. So they get the majority of the people because of work and paying of jobs and higher paying jobs than what some of the other parts of the state do pay. So the eastern part where we've got the oil fracking and oil producing, that used to be some high paying jobs in that career field. But a lot of people have been laid off. So, but yeah, great. Thanks for the questions. Okay. So as I was saying, like new construction too, you know, that's got its challenges too. So, couple tips. So if you do look at new construction, would be my recommendation would be is you secure your new construction, get it started. When it's about 2 months from completion, then you put your house on the market. That way, if there's any kind of delays, you've got a nice window. And when you put yours on the market, you can put it with a clause that says it's subject to the sale of your existing home. But being that you're only staying a couple months away, at least you can give a buyer some sort of leeway and say, hey, I'm building a new home. It should be done on January 1st. If at worst case scenario, it'd be the 7th or the 15th. It's easier than putting it on the market now and then starting your new construction and telling the buyer, well, you're at 7 months. Well, that could be 9 months. That could be a year. A lot of buyers would just back right out. So get the construction, or if you're just looking for a replacement home, find that replacement home first and get it under contract, subject to your home selling, and then put your home on the market. And that way you can close around the same day and move right in. It's easier, I find, to do it that way than putting your home on the market in this market and then trying to find a home. So with the inventory being tight in most price ranges, it might be hard for you to find that replacement home. So great stuff. So about all I've got for tonight. If there's any more questions, I'd be glad to answer them, but it's been great. I'll be back next weekend, not next weekend, next week, Thursday night, same time, same place. Hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you very much.